.com, adventuresunlimitedpress.com. But let me get the name of the book. It's in the back of the book. This David Hatcher Childress has this book out on the Olmecs. It's one of the few books that was written outside of an archaeological standpoint of view. Most of the people give you the archaeological standpoint of the view, and also, but it's a book. That's his name. It's called the Olmecs. And I was trying to get the name of the book, but just the only thing. A lot of times you just need the actual. You need the actual just the title of the author of the title. So in this particular case, David Hatcher Childress. But he made an observation. Now what happened was how the second part of this mystery was broken. We knew that they were the gods. Second part of the mystery was broken was this. I did a lecture on the 5th of December in Birmingham, Alabama. Real magical city, because they have they got a 10-foot mural in Egypt. This is where all the Cecil B. DeMille's and anybody that does anything on Egypt as far as the scenery, they have to access this guy's picture. His name is Sir Edwin Porter. And the name of the picture is called Israel in Egypt. But what it was this: he made this 10-foot long picture of the Temple of Luxor with all the paint still on it. He made it in the realm of, in the time before the erosion. It would be the actual time when the actual pharaohs was ruling. So he made this big picture of the pharaoh's procession, where they got the pharaoh, they got him, and he's going into the temple, and they got all these people in this procession. So he got back to England, and at that time it was in the 1800s. And he was trying to sell the picture. And the guy offered him an enormous amount of money for the picture. But the guy told him he had to paint the Israelites in the picture. You see what I'm saying? Being slaves. So he put a little piece in there, but it wasn't enough to cover up what he was really trying to convey. So the name of the picture is called Israel in Egypt by Sir Edwin Porter. He even got served because of the picture. Knighted.
What's it called?
And it's called Israel in Egypt by Sir Edwin Porter. It's about a 10-foot long picture. Huge. It sits in the Birmingham Museum in Birmingham, England. Now we get Birmingham, Alabama, and they call it the Magical City. Now Birmingham was supposed to be the same metropolis as Atlanta and even bigger. It was supposed to be the city of the South. Atlanta ended up being that. Birmingham was supposed to be bigger because Atlanta don't have no water. It's landlocked. Georgia, most of Georgia is landlocked. It has a river run through it. Has a river run through it. And it used to be a steel mill town. So Atlanta is more of a hotel and a convention town. You see what I'm saying? It was going to be a steel town. It was going to be like Pittsburgh. You see. They were going to build it. See, this is the deal about Atlanta now. Atlanta, after the Civil War, the financiers of New York said, we're going down south and we're going to build a New York in the south. Not going to be New York, it's going to be different. But it's going to be a New York in the south. So they picked Atlanta, they picked Birmingham, and they was putting in this northern money. And so, the first thing they had to do, they said, well, just wait, because they had it on hold, because these was northerners, and said, well, let's wait a couple of years until this whole civil rights thing get done. They say, because we see these niggas brewing up some stuff. They're getting ready to be like Richard Pryor said. They said, what y'all niggas waiting for in the 50s? We're waiting for the 60s. We're going to put your bitch in the 60s. So they were like, well, wait. Until, you know, and then we're going to pour in the money. We're going to build we're going to start building a New York. It wouldn't be like New York as far as naturally, but they was going to build it with northern money. So what happened with Birmingham was slated to be even bigger than Atlanta. But the Bull Connor shit went down, and all the racist stuff, when they was, you know, the Bull Connor was beating people over the head, and all your pictures of the dogs and stuff like that, and it squashed it.
Yep.
And so they took all the rest of the money and said, well, let's just settle on Atlanta. And then in the 90s, they starting to do that with Charlotte. You see what I'm saying? Like that. Like that. But it was a magical city, Birmingham, because of this picture in the Birmingham Museum from the 1800s. You see what I'm saying? In the 1800s. So, they, in the 1904, they built a big statue of Vulcan. And people say, man, they got the statue of Vulcan. I said, did you ever try to study what Vulcan is? We don't know what Vulcan is. So I studied Vulcan, and Vulcan is the god of metal. The god of metal. So I said, well, that makes sense because it's a steel mill town. So they took this god Vulcan, they built this statue of Vulcan, and he got nappy hair. And they aired it at the 1904 World's Fair, and then after the World's Fair, they brought it to Birmingham. So I was like, wait a minute, this is the god of metal. I said, oh, this is Ogun. So I did a whole thing, I went on the 5th to do a whole thing on Vulcan and Ogun. So Ogun said, well, you doing this for me, let me reward you with something. So the book, this is the book that I had since 2008, and it fell up on this page, and this guy David Hatcher Childress makes an observation that he in England used to play rugby, well, soccer, with a bunch of Nigerians. He said, and he got the aspect of the phenotype of the Olmec heads being Nigerians, and then all of the archaeological community agreed. It is the West African. It could be, but Nigeria could be, if you take it out of the modern sense, it could be Ghana, it could be the Congo, it could be the Dogon, you know, but you know, the Nigerian has got the thickest features.
That's right.
You see. And that's the prototype. That was the kingdom of Dahomey and all that, you know. So, when I read this, then Ogun said, I put it together. You got the first part at 95, but Ruthra said that was the gods. And now they're identifying the people as Nigerians, but this was a time when it wasn't the physical world, but they identified it with the Nigerians, so who are they talking about? Okay, they identified the Olmec heads as Nigerian, or West African. That's the first part. But you've already identified that the Olmecs were the gods that live in a pre-physical time, and they're gods. So who are the Nigerian gods?
We are.
The Orishas. No, the Orishas. Somebody must agree.
Yeah.
The reason why I know that?
Affirmation.
The reason why I know that?
Affirmation, right?
They, I don't know if they don't have it. You don't have that TV one up here, do you?
Yeah, we do.
And they got this show called Unsung.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So we recorded the Unsung on Phyllis Hyman, and we was watching the Phyllis Hyman documentary, and she came and they kicked the, you know, like we got a big speaker, and they got the little phone screen that they have on the speaker. She kicked the phone screen off, it flew across the room. And she said, you know, I just wanted to be recognized, you know, hey, I'm here. You see, so when that kind of thing happens, you see, when that kind of thing happens, that's the God. They said that's why a lot of times when if some food fall on the floor, you're supposed to leave it for a minute. Okay. Because that's them. They will knock it out the bag if it's something they like. If it's something they like. You see. You know. And then Oshun sometimes, she would just come and just take a ring off a person's finger. and it would disappear in thin air. You see, she was famous for that. You see. So,